Right to our panel now. Betsy Woodruff is of the National Review, and Ryan Grimm of the Washington bureau chief of the Huffington Post. Thank you both for joining us. Ryan, if I can start with you, some conservatives appear to be getting ahead of themselves on these latest scandals. Michelle Bachmann, for instance, tells that paragon of journalism where you'd never be employed, WorldNet Daily, the following: once again, it appears the Obama administration is blatantly lying to the American people. People can ask questions about the credibility of the elections. So in reality, Ryan, was it Mitt Romney who got 71% of the Hispanic vote?
Well, I mean, if you were watching the unskewed polls, that website that was popular up until it completely blew the election, then sure, you probably think that the election was stolen. You know, if you surround yourself with people who repeat the same things that you do, if you've seen nothing but Benghazi in your Twitter feed for the last 6 months, you probably need to start following a few more people, because it's going to lead you to conclusions like Bachmann's that, there's no way that Obama could have won because everybody I know voted for Mitt Romney. So that kind of thing is going to trap somebody like Bachmann.
Okay, Betsy, Rand Paul has tied several of the scandals neatly together for us, very helpfully. Take a listen.
He's using the power of government to investigate his enemies. He's tapping the phones of the press. And it turns out last year he signed legislation that allows him to detain an American without a trial and send them to Guantanamo Bay. This sounds like a president somewhat drunk on power.
Betsy, what do you think? Drunk on power?
Yeah, it's probably not the most elegant way of communicating, but I think what Rand Paul is getting at here is perhaps that there is a significant branding issue for Democrats when we're talking about, the fact that all these issues are coming out all at once. Drunk on power is maybe not the most effective language to use there, but I think he's getting at something that's valid.
Okay. Well, Ryan, Vice President Cheney claims the administration lied about the intelligence on Benghazi. Take a listen to this.
You start out with the truth, as reported by the intelligence community, and then you turn it into a total distortion once the political types in the White House and some senior folks at the State Department get their hands on it.
Ryan, I swear that could have been the audio version of Dick Cheney's autobiography.
I mean, what do you even do with something like that? I mean, this is
you heard it.
This is the least self-aware politician that I just don't even know what to say about a guy like this. Does he have no sense of what his legacy is with the Iraq War? Does he have no? I mean, if he has a double-digit approval rating, even at this point, I would be surprised by that. For Dick Cheney to go out and lecture people about how political operatives can manipulate intelligence to deceive the public, I mean, it leaves me speechless. I don't know what to say to a guy like that.
Okay, well, thank you for your speechlessness, Ryan.
I'm sorry.
Betsy, do you have a reaction to the great Dick Cheney's comments there, which, as I said, did sound as though they come from his audio version of his own autobiography?
I think it's a swing and a miss.
Okay. Well, these issues, as you know, should do wonders for GOP fundraising efforts. Everyone's charging round, loving it. But once 2014 comes round, Betsy, do you think the issues will be much as they always are at elections, jobs and the economy?
It's difficult. I mean, of course, jobs and economy are going to be the primary thing we'll be talking about in 2014, but at the same time, when you have a president who ran on being sort of this paragon of virtue and transparency and openness, when you have these many issues coming all to a head, as we're starting to think about the 2014 elections, I think that's something that might be challenging for congressional Democrats to dog.
Okay. Going back to you, Ryan, and I hope you won't be as speechless as you just were. Let me read to you one of these grand Uber conspiracies. It's a tweet from Marco Rubio this afternoon. You'll love this. Remember, the same IRS that targeted conservative groups will be the one enforcing the Obamacare disaster with fines. I should also point out, by the way, that the IRS still refuses to tell America what it knows about Benghazi as well.
No, that's
Don't
right.
tell me you're speechless again, Ryan.
Where do you go? Where do you go? I mean, look, the IRS, in 2007, the IRS had gone after a bunch of liberal groups, and then now it's in 2009-10 started going after a bunch of conservative groups. Nobody likes the IRS. It's the meanest. It's the cruelest agency out there. Nobody wants to get a letter from them, and so you're not going to have anybody coming to their defense. So it'll have a blowback in a couple of ways. One is that it's going to be tougher for the IRS to implement elements of healthcare reform. Also, it's groups like Priorities USA, the Koch brothers, Crossroads. Those are the ones that are really celebrating because they were in Carl Levin's crosshairs. He was launching a 2-year investigation into how the IRS has just let them behave however they wanted in the political sphere and conceal their donors and do all sorts of activity that didn't seem to be allowed by their quote-unquote social welfare legal designation. Now, forget about that. Nobody's going to have the political will to go after these groups when the IRS so mishandled it by going after these little guys. So the little guys took the brunt of it. The big guys are going to get away.
I think even from where I'm sitting now, I can hear Karl Rove sipping champagne. Betsy Woodruff and Ryan Grimm, thank you so much. Next.